everybody, and welcome to the Hot Pole Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Steele, and joining me is Liam Wright. Hello. Oh, I don't hear you now. Are you on mute?
Yeah, that's because I'm an idiot.
There we go. We're both at it today.
Well, we're only just both conscious, so...
Yes. I'm very slightly late today because I fell asleep on the sofa. Just like, there's something at 8 o'clock. I can't remember what it is, but... Yes.
I was technically conscious, but only just.
Sounds like me a lot of the time. But yes, this is your podcast that happens most weeks for music tech and guitar news. And this week, I didn't think there'd be that much news because NAMM is coming up rather soon. But turns out there was a fair bit. And there's so much news this week that I know about that I can't tell you because all the pre-NAMM buzz and excitement has started. And it's so exciting. I've had so many emails today from companies going, hey, we're doing this thing. Do you want to come and meet us and talk about this thing? I'm like, yeah, but you can't tell anyone. Ugh. Boo indeed. But yeah, there are companies have started teasing. They've started teasing products on their respective social media platforms. And Three Dog says, what kind of brew is that? This is a local brewery's American IPA. I can't remember. I think it was Smith's Brewery or something like that.
Oh.
But yes, hello to everybody in chat. It'd be interesting to see some of you at NAMM. You are very, very bright on that camera this time, are you?
I am. I was just trying to sort that one.
You can be seen on the moon.
That's where I'm from, so.
Yeah. But yes, one of the reasons that I'm very tired is I've been in the studio all day filming every last video before I go away because I'm going on holiday. Yay!
Holidays.
Going on my holidays, and that's on Sunday. So I've filmed, I think, 8 videos today. All the little videos and little cut-ins and little sections that are going in videos for Produce Like a Pro and Pro Mix Academy and my own channel. There we go. Now you're in the dark. And all the other kind of stuff for those aforementioned things that should not be known. It's all working. So yeah, I had to film it all and get ready. So yeah, things are moving forward with the surround sound mix that I was talking about as well that I might be doing with the Monuments album.
Ooh.
Yes. So I've been researching today how to actually get immersive audio uploaded to iTunes, and it turns out that there's a rather complicated method, but there is a method. So
you can do it though?
Yes, although it looks like if it is with them, then I wouldn't be doing it personally because it turns out Century Media are a Sony record label, so I'd actually be releasing it on a major label. Yeah. So yeah, I've kind of got myself into something a bit bigger than I thought here. But yes, I've been playing around with Reaper today and finding that Reaper can do full 3D surround sound, which, didn't know that, but it's inbuilt. Like, you can literally do as many channels as you like, and it's all just inbuilt, which is bananas. Banana. So, yes, that's something that I will definitely be working on over the next several months, on and off. Whether it comes out or not, again, no promises. Don't want to be held to anything because it is very much an experiment, but it'd be nice if it does. Yeah, so now I have to go on the journey of the soul of finding out how to make that all work properly. And so I'm trying to get different companies involved that make full surround sound plugins and be like, hey, you do a thing. Do you want to be involved? And Dear Reality got back to me today and said, hey, we'll put you in touch with our marketing department. So that's a tentative, probably. Because they make Dear VR, which we've covered Dear VR Mix on the channel, which was the stereo version of what puts you in a virtual room with different speakers.
Right.
But the Dear VR Monitor is the full version where you can have crazy setups of speakers, and it will then fold it down onto headphones and compensate it all so that it sounds like you're in that space, but on these. So I can work on ridiculous setups and still do it from the comfort of this room.
That sounds good.
Yes. I mean, from what they're saying and from what Apple was saying in their literature, it's still best at the end of the process to go and check it in a proper Dolby room. But if I can get 99.9% of the way there and then just go in for our day in a Dolby room somewhere, yeah, that'd be cool. And that is seriously content as well. When we're going to nice shiny studios to do shiny things.
Shiny studios for shiny things.
Absolutely.
What else could you want?
Yes. Yes, the studio's been very shiny today, where I've been shining lots of lights at my eyes, so I feel like a deer in the headlights. But yes, that's been the thing that I can talk about, and when we come back, hopefully we'll be able to do a live episode of the podcast from NAM.
That's the goal.
Yes. May even be able to do an episode next week from my holidays, maybe. But no promises.
Holidays.
That would be fun. I'm taking my laptop. Probably not going to work much, but I can edit stuff in the sun with a beer. So, and then when I get back and I'm not on holiday and not having a beer, I can review Holiday Adam's work and redo half of it. But yes, another thing that I've been working on is I'm doing a video for Blue Cat, which is Guillaume Jolin, on his Late Replies Crazy Delay plugin. And I've used that on a track, which sounds really, really good. I mean, I'm biased, but I'm really happy with it, is something I think I can say about it. I had my friend Neil in the studio, your friend Neil, yours and mine, was in the studio on Tuesday playing drums for me. And so that was for 2 songs, which will both be coming out in the next few weeks, one of which is now finished and one of which is not. I'm wondering, actually, if I can... Yeah, I'll play it at the end of the podcast.
Ooh, exclusive.
Yes, exclusive. I can't say what it's for yet, but I can tell you about the track itself. So, yes. After the news, I will send you a Dropbox link so you can listen along, and I will put a link... not a link. I will put the audio through the podcast. Indeed. Muy interesante. So let's talk about the news.
The news.
There we go. The Stream Deck key work. Yes. So, last week was supposed to be a podcast all about the stuff from Super Booth 22, which is all the really nerdy synth stuff. And we're not a very synth-focused channel. And I had forgotten that Liam was away last week. He did tell me. And I wasn't very well. I was just burnt out. So I kind of got the podcast ready. And then I just sat here going, I'm too tired. And I went to bed. Sorry, everybody. But needs must. And so we are back. And there is one piece of news from Superbooth that I really wanted to tell you about. And that's this. This is the FreqPort FT1 Freak Tube.
The Freak Tube?
Yes. Now, it says it's a plug-in, but it's a plug-in with actual tubes. This is not software. This is real. This is physical. This is an actual... Or it looks like it's been badly photoshopped, but apparently this is an actual physical thing. And it has 4 valves in it. Real valves. Two 12AX7s and 2 12AU7s, which are slightly less gainy. And so it's not that big. It runs off 12 volts, and of course, it can pump up the voltage internally because it uses very, very little current in these kind of valves. And so this has a plug-in associated with it. So it's a USB-C. It's a USB-C device with separate DC input to power the valves. And so you plug this into your computer, PC or Mac, and you can control 4 separate valves from 4 instances of the plugin in whatever project you're using. So it sends the audio down the USB. It gets converted in there, gets driven through the tube with the amount of drive and harmonics and everything that you require, then converted back in the unit and sent back over USB, so it appears just as if it was a plugin doing the processing. And because it's all digitally controlled drive and harmonics and everything, it's got full total recall through the plugin. So, yeah, you can have that strapped over your master bus or maybe your drum bus and on your vocals. And it's got 8 knobs on it, so you can vary the amount of drive and things on hardware, and that will update the plugin settings. And that's really, really cool, and I want one.
Bit different.
Yeah, very different. I mean, it does kind of fly in the face of a lot of the stuff that I've said about, like, I don't like the UAD stuff because you're tied to a unit and you can't go anywhere and all that kind of thing. Yes, that's annoying. But this isn't something that you could just recreate in software, at least not identically. So the real analog nonlinearities, especially when you're driving preamp tubes really hard, can be very hard to emulate. And what I would probably do is, if I get to a point where I'm happy with the sound of whatever I'm doing, I would probably like freeze the tracks, render a copy down into the project, because then I've got a real valve doing the real thing, and I can use it on each project. But if I do need to change it at some point, I can always kind of recall it. Nice thing to have.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Especially as a mix engineer, when I get sent stuff that I haven't got any control over how it was recorded. If I want a few tracks to have a bit more drive, a bit more life, a bit more saturation on them, in the hardware world, and I don't want to be screwing around with full, like, changing my setup over here to run through more drive stuff, it would be nice to just have this on the desk and just load a plugin up. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the latency on that would be a lot, because it has to go out through a separate USB, it has to be converted, it has to go back again. But as long as it's only a mix tool and you're not trying to use that as a live processor, I'm sure that would be fine, because that's a thing where, if that would be unviable to use live, because it doesn't even have like jacks for in and out or anything. It's got power and it's got USB, and that's everything. But because every modern DAW does automatic latency compensation, as long as the plugin tells your Pro Tools, Logic, Reaper, whatever, how long that delay is, and then it gets compensated for, not a problem. So yeah, there you go. And it's €799, so not cheap. But for
I don't like it.
No. For 4 channels valve drive, I think that's fairly decent. So there you go. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to reach out to him and see if I can play with one. But yeah,
I like it for free.
Well, I would like it for money, but I'd like it a lot more for not money. So yeah, Rev. I was going to say I'm wearing a Rev t-shirt now, but I'm not. I was earlier today before I got changed. The Rev have made a new pedal, and it's not called a G something, which is a step away from most of their work so far with the G2, 3, 4, and 8 pedals. This Tilt Overdrive is a 2-button drive that's designed for Sean Tubbs, who is a very well-respected session guitarist and does a lot of videos for Rev. I think he's based roughly in the same kind of area that they are, because he does a lot of work for them. And he does a lot of like Nashville style, like country and pop kind of gigs, and he's a heck of a player. But it looks like they've been revealing this a little bit every day. A couple of days ago, they revealed just a plain kind of silvery blue box. Then they put the bike on the front, then they put the knobs on, etc. So now we can see the whole thing. And it's a boost and a drive. So the boost, it looks like you can have it so it's full fat, or it cuts the bottom out quite harshly or less so. And a Till TQ, which is where the name comes from, which a Till TQ is one where when you go one way, you get more treble and less bass. You go the other way and you get the opposite. It literally tilts from bassy and muddy to thin and bright. And then there's what looks like a more traditional overdrive. And there are now some demos out there. So yeah, it runs off 9 volts, but internally upscales that to 18 volts for more headroom. And yeah, has silent relay switching. Very nice. At €299, that is not a cheap pedal. But knowing Rev, it will be made incredibly well. I've had a Rev pedal in the past that has been solid, like absolutely, like just you can use it to hammer nails in solid. So yeah, if it sounds as good as it should do as something that's made for Sean Tubbs. Also, it's not got his name on the front anywhere, so it looks like as much as he's had a lot of input, he's not trying to make it the ego thing of, look at me, I have a signature pedal. It's more of a kind of, you might like this. So yeah, good on him, good on Rev, and I hope to hear that in the future. Now, this is something that caught my eye a little bit. Acon Digital's Acoustica. So this is an editor that does a lot of cool cleanup things, a bit like Isotopes RX. So it's got like de-plosive and de-click specifically for voiceover. But the one that caught my attention was one called D-Bird. That's what I was like, oh, okay, because yeah, apparently if you've been recording dialogue outside with a shotgun mic and there's birds in the trees, it can remove them. D-Bird. So yeah, get rid of those tweets. Drop Twitter like it's hot. Apparently it can do it on Atmos up to 7.1.2.
Right.
I was hoping that would be 7.1.4 because that's what I hope to be working on, although I don't expect to have any birds in the recordings that I'm working on. But yeah, stuff like de-plosives and de-clicks are very, very clever. You do sometimes get the odd plosive and people say, oh, just use an EQ. You can, but it can take so much time to do it cleanly when you've got good plugins that do that. Yeah, you may as well. And ARA as well is now supported, which means you can use this inside something like Logic or Reaper where there is that real-time conversation between the two pieces of software. So you don't need to spend time transferring things in and waiting around. It just loads it up, which is anything that saves time, always great. So yeah, you can get that now. And apparently it's you can buy the standard version for €59 or premium for $189. So there you go. Not something I've heard of before, but it seems really cool. Kilohertz, who make their plugins that are supplied with the Slate bundle, which is why a lot of engineers already kind of have this, even if they're not even if they're not aware they have it. Version 2 has come out, so big update. Lots of new stuff with the multipass and snap heap. And multipass. Multipass is genius. So they've got loads of crazy plugins you can use, like gates, distortions, transient designers, delays, all that kind of stuff. Flange, and you can split up the sound into like low bass, mid highs, and process it all with completely separate stacks of processing. So you can do anything you can possibly imagine. It gets crazy. You could put like a distortion on the mids and a compressor on the top end and a gate on the low end of whatever it is that you're doing and do it all separately. And that, just thinking about that is just that's so much you could do. It hurts my head even trying to think about it. But yeah, all their plugins, they look kind of Ableton-ish. They're really clean. They do the jobs really well. They're quite good at CPU. But yeah, it looks like they've got lots of cool stuff in there. €489 for that ultimate toolbox. Wow. Or you can get the Slate bundle at $15 a month, and most of that is included. So there you go. Do that. Get it.
Yeah, sounds like a bargain.
Absolutely. Now, moving on. Chase Bliss. This was the other one that I considered to possibly be the headline article, and I went with the Funky Tube thing instead. So Chase Bliss are a boutique guitar pedal manufacturer.
Okay.
And they're getting quite big. And they've made the decision and the leap to not use dealers at all anymore.
Okay.
They're fed up of the percentages that they have to pay people just to ship them out, just to be shipped again. So Joel, the owner of Chase Bliss, has decided, you want Chase Bliss pedals? Go to our website, buy them from us. And there, I'm guessing that saves them a quite a significant amount of money, and all that means that they can do better. And yeah, apparently it means that they're not having to. Yeah, availability is a good one for why you would want to do this, because let's say you make 1,000 pedals and you have to send them out to 200 or 300 different dealers and distributors around the world. Each one gets 4 or 5, and if they're popular and they sell out, well, tough. But there might be another part of the world where all 5 of them sit on the shelf because it's just not popular there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got them all in your warehouse, anyone who wants one gives them the money and gets one. And you would say, oh, but what about increased shipping prices if it's from a country that you're not in? Yes, but for that pedal to have got to you, the dealer would have already had to pay for the shipping and the tax. And then put a percentage premium on top of that. That's why a lot of pedals that aren't made in the country you're in cost more. It's just, that's economics. Hello to Marty in chat, and hello everybody else in chat that's filing in as we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yeah, apparently this means that they can just do everything on their own terms. So yeah, big jump for them. These are the guys who make the Automaton and the 1978. These are the ones where if you change the settings by MIDI, they change on their own. So yeah, very cool that you can have them on effects boards. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Apparently, if you're in USA or EU, products will be shipped free of charge, and apparently there are no import fees. Apparently, Chase Bliss has employees in Amsterdam, so units can be sent from there for Europe. So again, no need for distributors. That's a very clever move. So I think they're an American company, so the main design team and prototyping will all be done in the US. But I suppose when it gets to a point where the product is ready, the design is ready and everything, they can just send the schematics over to the European lot and go, make this. And that'll be a very clever way to get round things like import fees. I know there are a lot of companies that do a very similar thing with Brazil, because apparently Brazil has killer import tax. So what a lot of companies do is they end up with a Brazilian arm where they employ Brazilian people to build exactly the same product under a license. And that way they make the money. You're not paying, I think at last count it was 30 or 40% for import tax for Brazil.
What?
Yeah, it's insane. So yeah, you're much better off just making a factory there. Apparently that was a massive issue with like game consoles, and that's why Brazil was pretty much a whole generation behind for years. Because if you wanted to import one, you had to be super rich. So now a lot of the major game console companies actually have factories in Brazil, and just make the Brazilian ones there.
Oh, that's crazy.
There you go. And yeah, there's a big post from Joel at Chase Bliss there as well, where he's saying thank you, and there you go. Apparently their products are still going to be available in a very small amount of stores, like under 10 worldwide, where they've built relationships up already. So they're just kind of doing that to help those specific stores out that they're already friends with. But which makes sense. But most of their stuff is going to be direct. Yeah. So there you go. And I wonder if other companies are going to follow suit and see this as a model and go, we should be doing this. I mean, that could affect, guitar stores' sales, but if all the guitar store is doing is buying something in and then selling it again online without ever actually, having you come and try the thing, it's like, why would you pay 30% more for that?
Yeah, no.
So there you go. Now, moving on. UA, Universal Audio, have made the Hitsville EQ collection. And this is a little headline for me because it's available from launch for Spark and Apollo. So the first new plugin that these guys have made since they announced Spark, which is the native plugin setup, the first plugin that they have released that's new since then is already on day one going to be available for Spark.
Ooh.
Which is interesting to me because that shows that they're willing to put their best foot forward and actually support the new idea with the Spark and not just kind of do it as a bit of a gimmick to get people to stop complaining. So yeah, apparently these are some really funky old Motown EQs. So the real ones are absolutely huge. Passive equalizer design, which means it's kind of Pultec-ish, but not exactly the same. It looks a lot more like the BBC ones that we've got. Not exactly the same, mind, but the similar kind of philosophy of custom bespoke design. Very nice. And so, yeah, you'll be able to get that on Spark, which is a monthly thing. Yeah, it's available now.
Right now.
Indeed. Oh, if anyone's noticed, by the way, I put the SM7B back in instead of the Lewitt, and it sounds like this. So
It does sound good.
Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to go for because it suits my voice for podcast very well. Where the Lewitt is really good for like singing. So sorry, Lewitt, it's a great mic, but this suits this application better. You'll just have to come out with a competitor, won't you? Which I can say because I don't actually know if that's happening or not. Right, so moving on. This isn't really a news article, but it's linked to the next news article.
Okay.
Gibson teases a new Noel Gallagher 355 via Instagram. So it looks like there's going to be a new Noel Gallagher model. The 335 is the one that most people know as the electric Spanish. The 345 and 55 are just kind of higher quality, higher grade models with more fancy stuff. €7,500 for what looks to me like just a red 355. Yowzer indeed. I mean, it's not going to be a bad guitar, but that leads us on to the next thing, which is more of a question than a news article. Gibson equals dad rock. Has Gibson miscalculated for the future? Now, this has stemmed from a video that Rhett Shull made, who's another well-known guitar YouTube player. Guitar player. Let's put the words in the right order, Adam. And so...
Guitar tube player.
Yes. So the discussion comes down to like Fender are endorsing artists like Billie Eilish and Her and cool, upcoming... interesting artists, like Silent Siren. They're supporting a lot of women in guitar playing, a lot of younger people, like Machine Gun Kelly. As much as I'm not a fan of him, I think it was a Charvel signature, which is a Fender brand.
You're not a fan of Machine Gun Kelly?
Yeah, no. I
love his stuff.
If he fell into a pile of lava, I wouldn't miss him. But he's important to a lot of people, and I understand and respect that. So
yeah, I think
that's
awesome.
cool. Okay. Yes.
He is a big fan.
Fair enough. But yeah, the discussion is that Gibson they've just released a new Dave Mustaine from Megadeth signature. He's got to be 60 now. Gene Simmons from Kiss, he's about 103, and he's just had a new signature come out. Noel Gallagher's, I hate to say he's not been relevant for years, but he's not been at the peak of his career for a long time. He's not a new artist. He has kids that are about the age of Billie Eilish. So, like, yes, there's Slash. He's getting old. Adam Jones from Tool. I love Tool. I saw them a couple of weeks ago. He's grey-haired now. Kirk Hammett from Metallica. Grey hair. Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. They've technically retired. So, yeah, Gibson don't seem to be prepared to be investing in young people and changing the image where people see Gibsons as granddad's guitar. Or maybe at a push, dad's guitar. Whereas, yeah, and it can't just be a cost thing, because yes, Fenders are on average cheaper than Gibsons because of the way they've been made. That's always been true. But if you're making aspirational stuff, like the Billie Eilish ukulele is nearly €250 for a ukulele. And I would bet anything that they've sold thousands of those. Thousands. Because it's Billie Eilish. And it looks kind of cool. And that's why you'd buy it. So,
and
yeah.
ukes are cool.
What's that?
Ukes are cool.
They are cool. I played one on a song that's coming out soon recently. And I did have to tune it in Melodyne because it was so far out, it turns out. But that's not because it's a uke. That's because it was a very, very, very cheap uke. Yes. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, that's the discussion, is that, yeah, there are some really good Gibsons, but they seem to be putting themselves in danger by not trying to appeal to the next generation at all. So they're doing okay now, but how long's that going to last? So hopefully JC and the team at Gibson change their minds and change some setup. Yes, I should probably move that box out of shot because it's for one of the things that shouldn't be talked about yet, although it is just a cardboard box, so it's fine. Nobody knows. I've left the things at the studio while I'm on holiday, so I can't accidentally have them on camera. It's fine. But yeah, that's Rhett, and he's playing a Gibson. He likes Gibsons, but he's probably on the younger age of dad rock. But he knows it, and that's the thing, is that, I mean, someone like Rhett, he plays Fenders and Gibsons and all sorts of other brands too, and he's very capable, and as someone who is on YouTube for a living, he's very aware that, you know, once you step away from loyalty to a brand, you can look at it objectively and go, hang on a minute, writing's kind of on the wall here. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy in chat says Gibson equals zzz, and I mean, but that's the thing, it's perfectly fair to have those kind of opinions, but why are those opinions coming up is the question. And yeah, so if Gibson aren't making anything that appeals to anybody, why not? It's a rhetorical question, of course, and hopefully they come out with something that doesn't look like a Star Trek communicator badge soon, that's actually, you know, appealing to somebody. But if they don't do something soon, then they've got serious mismanagement issues. Yeah, I mean, they did buy Mesa, which Mesa makes some really cool amps that do appeal to a slightly younger audience, like the dual rectifiers and that kind of thing. Definite metal. But they also make the Mark series, which appeal to much older players. Like the main endorsee of Mesa is Carlos Santana, who's about 307. So yeah, apart from John Petrucci from Dream Theater, who is 55, 58, something like that. You know, same age as my parents, where like I'm not exactly a young person on YouTube, and my parents are the same age as these guys. Again, it's like your leading iconic artists are old. Gonna need some new ones. So there you go. Moving on. I saw this and I immediately went, I want this. So Walrus Audio, my friends at Walrus Audio, hello friends, have announced the Badwater, which is an all-in-one bass preamp, which means I want it. And more. And yeah, so it looks like it's got kind of a clean setup and it's got a separate drive with a voice switch. So you can have the big thunderous lows and then just grundle over the top. And Walrus stuff is always really well made. It's got an optical compressor inbuilt as well. Oh boy. That was something I was thinking, is that this is going to need a compressor. But so sustain. So there's just a sustain, so you get a compressor before the drive, and then yes please. If I paired one of these with a 2 Notes Cab M, that's my fly rig. That's my board. I'm done. Ooh. They're €329, but that's a lot of money for a pedal. If you only need one pedal and you're done, then you're done. So, it might be worth it. You turn up at a show and you plug an XLR into the output of this and you go, I am completed. That's pretty good. It looks like there are videos at the bottom. But I will definitely be getting in contact with my friends at Walrus Audio and going, hey, yo, want. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, another one that's come up is Blackstar have just announced the St. James, the lightest 50-watt tube amp in the world. In the world. And my friend Lee Fuge has been a demo guy for Blackstar for years and years and did a demo of the St. James. Apparently, they've not cut any corners. It is a genuine 50-watt valve amp. It's not like some solid-state recreation like the ID series was. But however they've done it, I think they've done things like they've shaved the wood down and they've made the transformers smaller so that they can not take as much weight up. I don't know how they've done that, but they have. There's also an attenuator / reactive load, which, it can take it down from 50 watts to 2 watts. And yes, speaker simulator inbuilt, which apparently you can edit via USB. And based on the recent Department 10 pedal series. So there's, so it's an IR loader in there basically. And it can be recorded directly as an audio interface by USB, which is very useful because that means that if you don't have an extra interface at home, you can still record. Very, very useful. And I'm not sure how they did it, but apparently the 50-watt amp is 6.7 kilos. So it's still got some weight. But custom wound lightweight transformers. Because traditional transformers in guitar amps are big, heavy chunks of iron, which is how you get that big, heavy iron sound, but it weighs as much as a dog. A heavy, big dog. One of those that kind of comes up to your hip and pants. One of those. Just in a little ball of metal. I was moving amps like that around while I was on the Monuments tour, and one of them is fine. When you're moving 2,000 kilos of gear and most of it is amps, you're like, please stop. No more of this. So apparently they've made a lightweight speaker for the cabs as well, the new Celestion Zephyr. It's not made with a neodymium, it's standard ferrite magnets, voiced like a vintage 30, but somehow lighter. And I've never heard of candle nut wood. It sounds like some sort of cheeky joke. Candle nut. But apparently it's light and it's strong, and I'm guessing it's easy to get hold of as well. So, the cabinets are £600, €, and the heads are $1,200-ish. So, I mean, it costs money to make a proper all-valve head, but this is a 50-watt head that's £1,200-ish, where the Soldano SLO 100, which is, of course, 100 watt, is 3,000 and something. So, yeah, this is savings. And last but not least, little Behringer Corner. Behringer Corner. The corner of Behringer. So I had to go looking on their Facebook for this because it's not on Gearnews.com, but the LM drum prototype is finally ready for testing, apparently. So their kind of Lindrum clone is pretty much there. So you can see it's got all the dials and switches. Apparently that's kind of Lindrum-ish, but with more controls. Because of course it's got an LED screen, which the original Lindrum definitely did not have, and joystick for all that kind of side of things. Pads there, so you can go beep boop beep beep boop beep boop 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 boop, exactly like that. And there's all the different pitch sliders and voice sliders and all that kind of stuff. And it looks like that's going to be very cool and coming soon. So if it's in the prototype stage, they'll then commission it to be made, and it won't be long before you can get one in your hands. So there you go. 8/12-bit sampling drum machine. That was the Behringer Corner, and that was the news.
Guess what's trending on Twitter?
Hashtag end Twitter.
Hashtag Amber Turd.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
How has it taken people that long to come up with that? The internet's usually faster than that.
The court of public opinion has absolutely landed on one side in that debate, hasn't it?
Yeah, let's not get into it.
No, let's not, but yeah. Safe to say the court of public opinion is not something that can be reasoned with. But
there's a fair bit of evidence to back it up, but
yeah.
Anyway, but I just thought it was funny. I love a good poo joke.
Yes, we are still all 13 inside.
Exactly. So, question time.
Yeah, so Billy says, are we getting a holiday special next week? Both of us and our budgie smugglers. Oh dear.
Oh dear, no one want to see that.
Oh, no. I will have been on holiday at that point by 4 or 5 days. I might not be as white as the sun, but still, it depends if I can get Wi-Fi in the hotel, if it works, if I can be bothered, then maybe. But it would very definitely be a relaxed podcast with less the news than normal and more just it would be more kind of an FAQ and a get to know me when I'm off work, so to speak. But then the one from the week after, is it the week after or is it 2 weeks after? Thursday. It is the week after. Nam.
Ah, yes.
Oh, wow. That's going to come round so fast. It's going to be dizzying. I've been looking this week into all the paperwork that we need to fill in to get in and out of the countries. It's not as bad as it was a year ago, but there are still steps that you have to take to get in and out of countries. We're not part of Europe anymore, so we're not special.
Never was.
Yeah. But yeah, I've sent you a link to, and I'm saying this word by word because I'm trying to think, the song that I promised everybody earlier in the stream, which is something that came out completely on impulse. So, as I was saying earlier, on Tuesday, I had my friend Neil Anderton in the studio. Our friend. He's been our friend for many, many years. He was the drummer in my old band Spiderbook. And so me and him, we played together as rhythm section, bass player and drummer for years, to the point where we know each other's playing habits. And so once we set up the drum kit and did the thing with the thing I can't talk about, we hit the record button and we just kind of went. We picked tempo and we made a couple of songs, and one of which, halfway through, we did kind of a funky Chili Peppers style groove thing, because that's what we always did. And so that's what we kind of would land upon. Let's just see if I can just get this directory up there. And so we did that, and that was good. And that's going in the Blue Cat video about the... what was that?
I was trying to find the link and accidentally clicked on a video.
Ah, okay. Or the Dropbox link that's in the chat.
I was going to get up on my phone.
Okay. So we were doing that, and it was great. And then I said, okay, 174 BPM, let's do some jungle, let's do some drum and bass. And he looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. But he was like, okay, let's try it. So, yeah, we just live off the floor improvised for about 20 minutes of going round doing some like pendulum style drum and bass stuff, and literally drums and bass. And so we came up with something. It sounded cool. He was happy enough. And then that afternoon I layered guitars and vocals on top, and it sounds like this. So there you go. They have now heard the thing. Sorry if it was a bit loud. I tried turning the volume down a little, but hopefully you all heard that. And because it wasn't coming out the monitors. But yeah, real drums make such a difference. Yeah.
I thought you said there was vocals. I had no vocals.
Oh, it's spacey kind of pad vocals. It's not a lead vocal. But yeah, it's a really cool track that I'm really excited to get out there on the video. But yeah, having a real drummer. I mean, if afterwards I sent him the finished product and he's like, yeah, we should make a real song out of that. So the drums would probably be a bit tighter and a bit less kind of shuffle improv, because we would sit down and actually script it. But that was improvised off the floor, and we were just cueing each other for little solo sections and A section, B section. I was just giving him the nod as we were doing it, which is just classic rhythm section. So yeah, we made the whole thing up as we went, including the chords and everything. And then I had to then listen to it later and make the guitar parts work. But yeah, cool. Another fun thing, if you were listening to that, there was no synths in that at all. That was just guitars, drums, pad vocals, and bass. And it sounds like a kind of a synthy drum and bass track. So there you go.
Yeah, I thought there was some synth in there towards the end.
Yeah, that was a guitar. Yeah, so there you go. It's all like, yeah, it was a guitar and vocals doing that kind of thing. And yeah, built it up, filmed it, mixed it. Video is being sent to the company about the thing tomorrow, and then it's being released next week whilst I'm away. Typically. But yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Pow. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and then the other song got half finished, but that will be finished when I get back. And yeah, that's the one for the delay pedal the delay plugin video for Blue Cat, which that's already out, so I can talk about that. But it's more just kind of, here's other cool stuff you can do with it rather than just using it on a guitar. So yeah, I'm going to be using that on that video, on the drums, on the bass, on the vocals, on the everything, but in different weird ways, and just having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's part of what I've been up to, and I can't wait to tell you all about the stuff. Probably in 2 weeks from NAMM, when all the companies have gone, ta-da! Look at our shiny.
Did you mean to say 2 weeks from now or 2 weeks from NAMM?
2 weeks from now, NAMM. 2 weeks from now. Icon words. Yes, very tired. But now, unless there are any more questions popping up in chat, that is the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been emotional. And actually,
we can go back to sleep.
Yes, absolutely. Sleep is for the people who need it, which includes me.
I am one of those. Ooh, it's very dark. Look at that.
Ooh, cinematic. Need some dark string synth. Like, wow.
I thought I'd use this camera instead because now I'm like, when you put them side by side, we're looking at each other.
Yes, yeah. Apparently we are.
It looks like we're sat next to each other, bar, like reality.
Yes. Yeah, it's nice to not have to lug my cameras around a little bit as well, because I've been filming so much the last few weeks. We've been doing jobs that have been, off music. And I've been doing a lot of filming with John Brown as well for Riff Hard. I've been doing a lot of filming for us, for our channel, and for the Produce Like a Pro channel, and the Pro Mix Academy channel, and...
Just film on an iPhone, bro. That's what I've been doing. It looks great.
Yeah.
It does.
I suppose
depends what you're doing.
It depends what you're doing, but yeah, it can do. It absolutely can do.
Like, holy crap. I didn't, when I went to Croatia, I didn't even bother bringing a camera in the end. I say that it's because when I checked all my gear in the morning, I pulled the things out my bag to check and then put the camera on the side and didn't put it back in. So I make it sound like I didn't plan to bring the camera, but I did plan to bring the camera. But it's in this bag, which is the same color as my seat. And I stupidly just took it out and then got to the airport and I was like, my bag feels lighter. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Luckily I had a spare phone and I had a tripod mount for my phone, so
perfect.
But yeah, voice looks great.
Perfect segue to a question from Van Deen. Without derailing the podcast, which now is a perfect time, how was your crypto moderation gig?
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, it was really good. Got a few interesting guests that will be likely to get in on the channel and the podcast coming up. A guy called Richard from a company called Token Tracks. That sounds really interesting. They're working with Sony and Warner Music around licensing, using blockchain for licensing for artists. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out of there because it was a kind of a lifestyle type event rather than kind of really corporate stuff. So there's a lot of people to do NFTs there, and NFTs around utility of NFTs. So like rights, licensing, all that sort of stuff. Ticketing is something that's more than likely to be the future as opposed to just artwork, because as I think it was Richard that said on the panel, think of how many people day to day buy artwork. The art market might be a lot of money in it, but it's tiny compared to, say, the music industry. How many people listen to music? How many people go to gigs? And NFTs, which are essentially just tokenizing things, can be used really efficiently. And if you put your rights to your music through NFTs, then you can redeem sort of 90% of the royalties rather than like 30% like a lot of bands get. There's really one really cool thing, which is there's a DAO, or no, an organization called Party Degenerates, and they put on events and festivals all around Europe. And if you own one of their NFTs, you get access to any of their events and VIP sort of treatment. And one of the cool things that they do is, if you're then at one of their events and you have the NFT in your wallet and you scan a QR code that's up on a screen, you'll get an airdrop of something. So turning that into sort of like band-based music, if you were to buy a band's album as an NFT and then you go to their gig, they could quite easily put a QR code up that shows that anyone that scans it gets like the airdrop of their new track before it's been released. So it's like a membership clubs for 2022, so you can have like rewards. So it's a matter of like, if you've got something in your wallet when you're at an event, it allows you to get extra stuff. And we're talking about with monuments, like people wanting to support bands. If it's something that is directly linked to the band, and then the band can directly give stuff back to their fans by people that owned the NFT. There's some really cool stuff. So it's not about it, but At the moment, people just want to buy them because they think, oh, if I buy it, it might go 100x and I can make loads of money. That's not the interesting stuff. The interesting stuff is how you can use tokenization to help create utility in the world. So, a couple of people that I met that I'm going to introduce Adam to, and we might get on the podcast to talk about it. We won't be talking about NFTs in terms of how to go to the moon and make loads of money, but maybe around how bands can use it to help them make more money in the Spotify era.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that NFTs have got a lot of bad press and have been used poorly, but like you said, there's a lot of potential. So
yeah, I think in 5-10 years time, when you think of NFTs, if that term is still the term, or whether it's just digital tokens, digital collectibles, whatever it becomes, but because ultimately the tokens are ERC 721 tokens. That's what they actually are. But anyway, NFTs will be synonymous with music and events rather than artwork, because it's just too small a market. People get bored of art. Like, okay, there's like profile pictures and stuff, but it's just not a big enough market.
Yeah. But yeah, we will talk about that at some time in the near future, in due course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm speaking to Richard, and he's down for coming on. There's a few other really cool people as well. There's a guy that did the first gig on a blockchain at an event, and he did really cool loop stuff. He wants to come into the studio to record some stuff. So yeah. Lots of cool, weird, wacky NFT people coming your way, but don't worry, it won't be boring crypto stuff that you guys aren't interested in. It'll only be stuff relevant to how artists and producers could make more money or get more access to stuff. So,
so we're looking forward to that.
Cool.
Thank you, everybody.
Cool, guys.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you maybe next week. No guarantees, but definitely in 2 weeks from Nam from LA.
Nam nam nam
nam nam nam nam nam.
Nam,
See
nam,
you soon. Nam
nam nam nam
nam nam
nam
nam nam
nam
nam nam nam nam nam nam nam. Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server, link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hot Pole Studios. See you there.